Good afternoon, third grade students, and welcome to today's writing lesson. Our learning objective is to create a draft of a story. The draft is the third step in the writing process. But before we start writing our drafts, let's review what we have done thus far. In step 1, you wrote down all your ideas onto a circle map. In step 2, you organized those ideas onto a graphic organizer with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now, let's look at step 3. In this step, you will be writing a draft of a story. But what is a draft? A draft is the very first version of your story, where you put your ideas into sentences and paragraphs. This step includes all the important events that happens in your story in the order in which they happen. So, why is writing a draft important? Writing a draft is important because it gives you a chance to put your thoughts together and develop your ideas. Your draft should be made more interesting and fun to read by using transition words. Transition words helps the reader to understand the order in which the events happened and they link or connect your ideas. Examples of transition words are first, next, then, after, last, and finally. Let's look at the procedure for writing a draft. The draft of your story should have a setting and characters. Do you still remember what a setting is? Yes, that is correct, boys and girls. The setting tells the reader when and where the events happened, the time and the place. The characters are the ones who make the actions in your story happen. The draft has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Let's take a closer look at the procedure. In the beginning, you introduce your topic and your characters. In the middle, you say what happened first, what happened next, and what happened last. Remember to always use transition words when moving to the next event. In the end, you write your conclusion to your story. Here is where you wrap up and remind your reader about the main idea of your story. You sum up by telling your feelings about what happened. You can describe what you have learned from your experience, or you can add a hope or a wish about the future. We will now look at examples of drafts. In example 1, the topic is my favorite toy. First, my mom called me. She said because I had good grades, I could get a new toy. I was very excited. I jumped up. Then we got into the car to go to the Avenues Mall. I couldn't wait to get to the toy store to buy the new action figure Baby Yoda toy before it got sold out. Boys and girls, can you see that I started with a transition word? It tells the reader the very next thing that happened, and the reader can imagine how the writer felt when her mom told her about buying a new toy. Let's continue. When we got to the toy store, I looked at the different Baby Yoda toys. They were all amazing. There was the Talking Plus Yoda, the one that changes color in water, and others. I couldn't make up my mind. I chose the Child 11. Can you picture the toys in your mind? Finally, I put my Baby Yoda in our cart. My mom paid for the toy. I asked my mom if I could get the color changing one when I do well again. Baby Yoda is my new favorite toy. Did you notice the transition word finally? It tells the reader that this is the last thing that happened. Let's look at example 2. Topic is a special place I visited. Last summer, my family and I went to a very special place on vacation. We went to Cape Town, South Africa. First, my dad booked our flights and made the hotel reservations. Then, my mom helped us pack our suitcases. Did you see? We know the first thing that happened by using the word first. Can you picture what the dad is doing? After a 10-hour flight, we arrived safely in Cape Town. We took a taxi to the hotel. We checked in and rested for a while. First, we went for a scenic drive around Table Mountain. Next, we went whale watching at a very special place. After lunch, we went to Seal Island. It was amazing. Boys and girls, can you picture the things that happen in the story as they unfold? We know what they did first after they rested and what they did after that. Transition words are very important. Lastly, we did some fun indoor activities. My mom and dad went to a relaxing spa. I had a very amazing time in this beautiful and special city in South Africa. Now you know what happened last on that day. And there you have it, boys and girls. The story has been written in order. I used transition words to connect all my ideas. I used details so that you can picture the story in your mind. Couldn't you? Remember that this is just the draft and that you can go back later to make it even better. Now it's your turn to write a draft about your worst day ever. You will be using your graphic organizer of last week to form sentences and short paragraphs. Remember to include all the points we discussed today.